harnesses are not suitable for obedience training. And here's why. When a dog is attached to a harness, the anchoring point of the harness is between the shoulder blades on the back of the dog. So when the dog is anchored there, the dog can make any directional change that it wants, and you can't prevent it. The dog can face this way, this way, this way, and you can't correct that, because even if you tug, it has no effect on the dog. Versus when you have a leash and a collar on the dog, and I have here my slip lead, I can correct the dog. I can give him a little tug and tell him, no, that is not what I want. And he can react to it. If I make a directional change and walk in a different direction, the head turns around because the leash is attached to the front part of the dog. And so he follows me in that direction. With the harness, he can go this way and pull really hard while I'm attempting to go in the other direction, and depending on the size of the dog, that can prove difficult for the average person. So when training obedience, you should always have something connected to the neck of the dog, not a harness. There's other applications for harnesses where they're okay. That is in detection, in search and rescue, in dog sledding, even guide harnesses for guiding dogs for the blind. And those are all applications where the dog is wearing a harness to prevent the handler from influencing the dog, because the dog is the one with the nose searching. Okay, so that is why they're anchored here, so that the handler cannot accidentally redirect the dog while the dog is in a search. That is what they're made for, not obedience training. Once your dog is trained, you can walk your dog. If it's very obedient, you can walk your dog on a harness. But to get the dog to that point, you should use something that is connected to the neck. Flat collar, slip lead. You've heard about alternatives like Halties and no-pull harnesses. The reason why I don't use those, in the no-pull harness, the anchor point of the leash is in front. And if I'm to grab this and turn it, you can see what's happening there with the shoulder. It throws off the alignment of the dog's movement. So if you have a dog that shoots forward because he's accustomed pulling on a leash, and this anchor point turns the whole front around suddenly, there is a very high risk of shoulder injuries. Halties are harnesses that loop around the nose, similar to a muzzle, but it's just one piece. And then the leash is attached to it here. So when the dog goes forward, it closes the dog's mouth and jerks the head around. That cannot be healthy for the neck. And I've seen dogs that bit their tongue because the mouth suddenly being closed while they're panting. And then you can get a lot of chafing around the nose. Then there are some no-pull harnesses where there is something attached to the front here that goes under the legs and then is attached to a leash. So when they pull, it pulls down the dog in front and slows them down. That causes a lot of chafing under the armpit. So not really suitable, in my opinion. Okay, control the head, control the animal.